Welcome everyone to day 58 of our third session this year, calling Deepening the Silence. I'm so happy to be your host today. My name is Sylvia Udar. I'm in the Chicago area. I've been meditating for around 25 years now, and I keep going and it never stops. It becomes more and more beautiful. I want to remind you of getting your foot soak ready. You need a bucket, a water to wash your feet, something to dry your feet, and you add a little bit of salt in the foot soak. If you're new or continuing, you can request an introduction of Sahaja Yoga after the program today and ask in the breakout room help, or you can also send a chat to the Zoom host, which is me. You can review course materials and recordings on our website. If you would like to request a mentor or an additional mentor, you can also send us a message. Today's topic is Shri Buddha and the ego. On Tuesday, we had a topic about speaking with a clear Vishuddhi chakra, about how you use our sweet speech. And then we connected today with Shri Buddha and how we work out our ego and become more humble personalities. So today's agenda is we have a short topic. We will talk about the ego. Then we have a guided meditation with the foot soak for our collective cleansing. We will share a video of Shri Mataji. And then we meditate with music. Today I'm happy to play flute for you. Today I play a rag called Purya Kalyan, just a melodic part. It is deepening our meditation a lot. At the end of the program, we have answering some questions with all the presenters. I now request all the presenters to come online, please. Welcome, Shivani. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Shivani, and I'm coming to you from Vancouver in Canada today. And I'll be leading the second part of the session, which is the silent meditation.
Shivani, one question. For how long have you been meditating?
I've been meditating for all of my life. So I was brought up doing meditation since I was very, very little.
That's wonderful. I mean, that's amazing that you continue meditating. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Welcome, Rahul. Would you like to introduce yourself? Mostly
Yeah,
everyone
sure.
knows you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Hello, everyone. Happy to be here again. My name is Rahul. I live in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been meditating since 2005, and Sahaja Yoga has brought a lot of transformation, positive transformation in my life. I live here with my family, with my wife and two daughters, and it's a continued joy to come on this platform and share this journey with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Now I pass it on to Rahul. He will explain about the ego and guide us through our collective Futsog.
Thank you, Sylvia. So, welcome back, everyone. Today's topic is we are going to meditate on the teachings of Shri Buddha. Shri Buddha corresponds to the right Agnya, and the right Agnya is on the left side of our head because the right channel goes up and crosses over on the Agnya chakra. Now, the right Agnya corresponds to our ego. Now, if you look at the life of Shri Buddha, his life is all about transcending the ego, going beyond the ego. In the beginning, he lived a life of pleasures, growing up as a prince. And then during his seeking journey, he went on the other extreme, which was practicing a lot of penances and austerities in search for truth. But he realized that truth doesn't lie in both these extremes, neither in the indulgences nor in torturing the body and going to the extreme of penances and austerities. It lies in the center when we are in the balance. That is where the true joy is. And he came to that understanding towards the end of his seeking journey when he was at a river bank and he saw a musician who was tuning his musical instrument. It was an instrument like sitar, and he saw that if the strings were too loose, then no music came out. But if they were too tight, then they would snap. But when they had the right amount of tension, then that is when the beautiful music emerged. Then he realized that the truth, the true joy and meaning of life is in the middle path, is in the center. And with that realization, he sat down under the Bodhi tree, determined yet without any tensions, relaxed and surrendered. And that's when he surrendered, the divine grace was able to flow within him and raise his kundalini, and that is how he was able to get enlightenment. So this is the journey of Sri Buddha, and it teaches us how to go beyond our ego by being in the center. He gave us three mantras, uh, and we will incorporate those mantras today in our meditation. A media team, can we bring up that? So the mantras that he gave us was, the first one is Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, which means that I surrender to my enlightened consciousness. I surrender to my spirit, to my true self, not to this ego, not to this mind, but to that pure consciousness. And then the second mantra he gave was Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. I surrender to that guidance from the Spirit. I surrender to that inner sense of righteousness. I surrender to the Guru within. That is our spirit. So, Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami. And then the third one he gave was Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. That is, I surrender to the collectivity. I surrender to the collective consciousness. I'm not this individual ego awareness, but I am part and parcel of something much greater. And when I surrender to that, that is how, again, how we transcend our ego. So these three mantras, as we incorporate in our meditation, it really helps to bring down our ego and connect us to the reality of our being. So let's get started. Hopefully you have a foot soak bucket in front of you. Let's open both the palms in our lap. Close our eyes. Just take a few moments to relax. Leave aside all the tensions of the day, all the worries. This is the time to just go deeper within ourselves. Relax your shoulders, your body. Let's take a few deep breaths. Let's bring our attention inside. And let's strengthen our desire to meditate and to go deeper. Now we will slowly raise our Kundalini. Let's put ourselves in Bandhan. Let's do it with our full attention. Now using our right palm, we vibrate the water by moving the palm in a circular way, clockwise. Now we put our feet in the water. Let's pay attention to how we feel on our palms. On the left and on the right. Let's feel our tension above our head. Now let's take our right palm and point it towards the earth. keeping our attention on the left side or above our head. We can pray to our Mother Kundalini. Mother Kundalini, please take away all the imbalances that are there in my emotional side, in my left side. Please take them out of my being and into the earth element. Now, with full trust in our Kundalini and patience, let's witness the process of her bringing our left side into balance. If we can feel her presence and love in our heart as she opens our left side. Now we bring our right palm back to our lap. Take the left palm now towards the sky. Putting our attention on the right side, we pray to our Kundalini. Mother Kundalini, please take away all the imbalances, all the overactivity, all the restlessness of our right side out of our being and into the air element. Now here it helps to say that Mother, I do nothing. I am not the doer. I'm just a wave on the ocean of pure consciousness. The ocean does it all. I do nothing. Mother, you are the doer. Bring our left palm back to our lap. Let's put our right palm on our heart. Take our attention to that spirit, that pure awareness. Here we say, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. I surrender to my spirit. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. I surrender to that innate sense of righteousness, which is the light of my spirit. I surrender to the sustenance, the pure nourishing power of Kundalini. Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami. Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Dharmam Sharanam Gacchami. I surrender to the collectivity, to the collective consciousness. I am part and parcel of the whole, not just this drop, but I'm one with the ocean. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Let's take our right palm on our forehead, on the Agya chakra, and we'll say all the three mantras together. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami. Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami. Sangham Sharanam Gacchami. Now let's put our right palm on top of our head. Let's massage the top of our head. You can say, Mother Kundalini, please strengthen my self-realization. Let's raise our right palm above our head. Feel the flow of vibrations above your head. We'll keep our attention in the space above our head while we bring our right palm back. Let's meditate in silence for a few moments. Now we slowly open our eyes. Let's rinse our feet with fresh water. We can take a towel and wipe our feet, and we can set aside the fruits of bowl. Now let's stay in state of meditation with our attention above our head. We'll listen to an excerpt of a talk by Shri Mataji. In this talk, Shri Mataji is meditating for the first minute, and then after the first minute, she starts talking.
Today, we have decided to celebrate the Buddha Jayanti. It's the day of Buddha's birth. In the whole map of time, Buddha came to this earth at a time when it was so important for him to come. That time, especially in India, we had two types of people. One who were very ritualistic, trying to be extremely strict and disciplined. And the another were the people who were too much conditioned and were full of so-called devotion to God. So these two types of people were occupying the area of seekers. So it was necessary to neutralize these two styles of seekings. Buddha and Mahavira are in essence supported by Hanumana and Bhairava. That is, as you know, Gabriel and Saint Michael. The principle that took birth is the principle of a disciple. And this principle was born much earlier as the two sons of Sri Rama. This principle was brought on this earth and incarnated. One, to conquer the ego of human being. Another one, to conquer the superego of human being. Buddha, when he was born, he found that there was misery everywhere. And the misery, according to him, was due to the desires we have. So to be desireless is the best way to achieve nirvana. That's what he came to conclusion. But how to become desireless? You are sitting in the sand, and if you see the sand doesn't get attached to anything. You put anything on it, it will not spoil anything. You put water, it will stick on, and as soon as you try to throw it away, the whole thing will disappear into thin air. So, to develop that kind of detachment or to develop a life which was desireless was his aim. And that's why I say he was a disciple principle. So the disciple principle has to find out the way and method, while the guru principle are the people who have already found out, because he has to create a way and path. So he studied all kinds of books, went to many places, he read Upanishads, then he saw the people who are busy with Vedas and were doing all kinds of ritualism. With the ritual, they never got the realization, which is actually the first verse of Veda, is that by reading the Vedas or by doing all the rituals of the Vedas, if you do not become Vida, means self-realized. Vida word means to know. If you don't know the divine on your central nervous system, then you are just missing the point. It is all useless for you to read Vedas. So he went into various areas of search. As today we find many seekers have been going to many people to find out the truth. And he was tired, very tired. He thought all his seeking, all his working hard, all his efforts, everything has just made him tired. And he thought it was all fruitless. So he was lying under a banyan tree. And there, the Adi Shakti gave him realization. When all your searches are over, people search in money, in power, in love, and all kinds of things. Ultimately, people start searching in various groups, cults, gurus, all kinds of drugs, alcohols. Whichever way are possible, they try to search. But when human beings try to search something, then in their movement they either go to the left or to the right. And he, being such an ardent seeker and such a truthful seeker, he could see very clearly that this is not the path of going left or right. But there has to be some ascent. But how to achieve it? Who is going to give him self-realization? All that tiredness, he laid down himself under a tree, and suddenly he got his realization. When he got his realization, he started understanding why this problem of conditioning and ego is there. He found out one thing, that people, when they read too much and try to understand through ritualism God, then they develop their ego. The other side, he found out that when people just with some desires go on praying to God, give me this, give me that, they become mad. And when he realized it, then only at that moment when he was tired, he got his realization. This is exactly what is happening today in the modern times. That those who were seekers have been seeking the divine on the left and right hand side. Nowadays they are jogging. I don't know what they are going to achieve through jogging. They are jogging like mad. Then they are ardent Christians, ardent Muslims, fighting the whole world for their religion, for their God, for in the name of Muhammad Sahib, or in the name of Krishna, in the name of everything. Then they think that religion is in danger. I mean, it is not. Neither the prophets nor the incarnations, nobody is in danger. Not at all. How can they be? And no religion, if it is true religion, can be in danger. But this he only realized after his realization. But his followers who came did not see the point that ultimately it is self-realization is talking. Actually took all the care to see that people should get their self-realization first.
Let us keep our attention in Sahasrara and continue our meditation.
And after listening to that beautiful music, we can just maintain our attention within ourselves. We can try and maintain a thoughtless awareness state. If any thought comes to your mind, just say, I forgive. We can bring our left hand up onto the left side of our head, which is where the right Agnya chakra is. And in our hearts, we can say, I am not this body. I am not this mind. I am not this ego, nor this intellect. I am the pure spirit. I am the pure spirit. Mother Kundalini, I surrender. I surrender my ego to you. And here we can say the mantra for the right Agya. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Buddha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. We can bring our left hand back down onto our laps. And we can bring our right hand up towards the right Agya. We can give a bandhan, or we can give vibrations to our right Agya chakra. So that's a circular motion, up on the right, across, and down on the left, and across. So in a clockwise direction, we'll just give vibrations to our right Agya chakra for a minute. Mother Kundalini, please nourish my right Agya. We can say the mantra once again. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Buddha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. We can bring our right hand back down into our laps. And once again, we'll try to go into the thoughtless awareness state. With our right hand, we can gesture our Kundalini to rise a few times. Just raise the Kundalini from the Muladhara up to the Sahasrara a few times. We can place our right hand at the top of our head and just massage in a clockwise direction. We can bring our hand back down to our laps. Just for a couple of more minutes, we can maintain a silent state. If any thought comes to your mind, say, not that thought, or not now, or I forgive, and just let it pass. We can slowly open our eyes. We can all raise our kundalinis and put ourselves in bandhan together. So with our left hand in front of us, we can bring our right hand around the left hand, raising them both upwards, and then tying a knot. You can do this 3 times. We can put ourselves into bandhan. And with that, I'll pass it back to our MC, Sylvia.
Thank you so much, Shivani, for beautiful meditation. Thank you, Rahul. We'll continue with our announcements. Can we please see the slides? So today we learned about Shri Buddha and the ego. Our next program is on Sunday, June 15, and we will talk about how we celebrate our small victories in our spiritual growth, it's not always the big things which are happening. Actually, small daily discoveries we make help us to improve and also grow spiritually. We are now in the third session of our 21-day course called Deepening the Silence. We meet every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays. Our last program for this session will be on June 24. We also have ongoing collective foot soaks and meditations every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, always at the same time at 8:45 p.m. New York time zone and with the same Zoom link. We are happy if you request a mentor. Please fill out a form. It is posted in the Zoom chat. You can join our community in a WhatsApp group. We share daily spiritual messages. We remind you of when our next class is happening. There are also links posted in the Zoom chat. And in the WhatsApp group, you can also connect with other meditators which are on a similar journey like you. All our live sessions are recorded, and you can always go back to YouTube, re-watch. Even you can start from day 1, or if you feel, oh, day 22 was very powerful, so choose any of the days which resonates with you and revisit them, re-meditate, and learn more about all the topics we share with you. So handouts and more are also available on our website. So how you can contact us now, please write to the breakout room help. So literally write in the breakout room help. I want to meet a Sahaja Yoga teacher now in a breakout room. Or you can write a question in the chat Q&A. Or you can send me your question. Then you write to the MC. Now we'll share a few experiences. I request Shivani and Rahul to come back in the main room. Welcome back. How are you feeling, everyone?
Thank you. Very good.
Yeah, so today's topic, the ego. It sounds easy, right? It's a 3-letter word, ego. But it is actually very difficult initially when we meditate to recognize and how we act. And now let's go back to Shri Buddha also, Rahul. Are there any other, you shared a beautiful story before, are there any other teachings or stories from Shri Buddha's life which you might remember and you would like to share with us?
Oh, yeah, definitely. There are many stories, and one in particular is my favorite, apart from the one that I shared in the beginning. And it is a reference to a sermon that Buddha gave, which is called as the flower sermon or the lotus sermon. And the story goes that once he assembled his disciples for a sermon, and instead of talking or saying anything or explaining anything, he just showed a lotus flower in front of the assembly. And everybody was confused as to what was Buddha trying to express. Nobody understood. But there was one disciple, his name was Mahakashyapa, who understood, and he smiled. And Buddha also smiled that he understood what Buddha was trying to express. Now, the whole meaning behind that sermon was that enlightenment is a direct knowing, is a direct experience. It's not about discussion, it's not about intellectual understanding. And we can have that, without any end, but at the end, it's the transformative experience that can happen in a moment. It is very much like a blossoming of a flower, of a lotus. And And yeah, no intellectual understanding or discussions are required. And that was very profound for me, because I feel Sahaja Yoga is exactly that, where we get our realization and our experience through the awakening of Kundalini. And any amount of prior reading or studying is not needed, and many times could be a hindrance. Whereas when we surrender to it, it just beautifully works out, just like lotus blossoming. So yeah, that's the another one which I really love.
Yeah, that's a beautiful example how our Kundalini, when somebody awakens our Kundalini just in the moment, right? It does not take any time at all. But we might or might not be ready to go deeper. So sometimes we take more time depending
Right.
on the set of life experiences we had before. Shivani, what about you? Do you remember any story
Yeah, I
from
mean,
Shri Buddha?
just to add on to what Rahul said, that it really makes a lot of sense, because you see children meditating who have been brought up with Sahaja Yoga, or who have got it at a pretty young age, and without knowing much about spirituality or really having any real questioning towards meditation or going silent, they're still able to do it without having all of that intellect or knowledge there. So it's quite fascinating. But one thing that I do always come back to when it comes to Shri Buddha and the trying to overcome that ego is the story of how he got his self-realization, and that he really pushed himself to complete extremes where he was fully emaciated and just, wearing one cloth, and just very basically sacrificed everything that was a worldly possession, to the point where he was almost dying. And in his emaciated state, a young girl gave him some people know this story to be, gave him a bowl of milk, or some people know the story to be, she gave him a bowl of rice pudding, and that he accepted it. He accepted that love from this small child, and he ate it. And then on eating it, he realized that that wasn't the path, that extreme wasn't the path, and gave him the energy to go and sit under the Bodhi tree and to reach his enlightenment and to meditate deeply for, I think it was about 49 days or so. And so that surrendering, and that getting past the idea that we have to push ourselves so much, and we're doing it, and we're, all this effort, and thinking about things and working towards pushing ourselves to extremes isn't actually the way to get to our enlightenment, and we have to surrender. So that's kind of the one thing that I always bring myself back to when I feel like, oh, my, ego is coming up a little bit, is that I just have to surrender it. Otherwise, things don't work out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another beautiful example. That's very powerful. What came into my attention is the story before he started his searching. So when Shri Buddha was born, the parents consulted somebody checking the horoscope of the baby, and it was in his horoscope written he can be a great saint or he can be a great king. But as the parents were also very powerful or more king-like, or they decided no, they don't want their son to be a king. So they completely shielded him from seeing any outside world, what was outside the kingdom. So you can say in our modern society, he was a spoiled kid. He would get everything he asked for. He has all the luxuries. He has all the food. He has never any sickness. He has no trouble. And then that's how he grew into adulthood, never seeing anyone sick at all or suffering. So he thought, okay, this is life. But one day he went out on a chariot, that time with a horse-drawn chariot, and then he saw a sick person, and he was wondering what is wrong with the person. And then he saw someone dying, or he saw someone very poor, and that triggered him so much that even his parents tried to shield him from being a saint. It was inbuilt in him that his seeking started. until he reached the point, what the story Shivani told, where he got this enlightenment sitting under the tree. So it shows so beautiful how we again can relate to it. Before we receive our realization, we might be seeking. We're seeking different things. We're seeking spiritual life, but we don't know the way. Until one day, somehow it happens, we all receive our self-realization and get to the point that, this is it. This is what I was searching for.
Yeah.
So, Rahul, in your own upbringing, was there anything that inflated your ego in an unbalanced way? Or how has Sahaja Yoga helped you to understand and deal with that?
Yeah, definitely. There were many things, and I wasn't even aware, because when you are misidentified with your ego, it's like a blind spot. You don't even know, and you are going in on a ride, but you're not even aware. So yeah, there were many things growing up, misidentification with the name, with the social status, even small things like academic achievements or extracurricular achievements. All of that gave uh, inflated my ego, and many times I didn't realize that I would have this grandiose self-perception where I would overestimate my abilities, and many times when people would say something that they found was wrong, the ego would defend itself, and instead of facing the issue or facing where the weaknesses were, it would try to justify and defend itself and get angry. But yeah, I mean, the deepest or the subtlest of it was during the seeking journey. I realized, just like very much like Buddha, I read a lot of books and been through a lot of practices and places. And in that process, I acquired a lot of knowledge, and I felt, okay, I know it, but it was all intellectual knowing, intellectual understanding. And I know many seeker friends of mine felt that that was it, that I am already enlightened, but it is just an intellectual understanding, and it doesn't lead to transformation. It is not an experience that brings that joy and peace in your life. So, but then you can have a ego about it. You can have an ego that you even have an ego about seeking, that I'm a seeker. I know a lot, and I'm above others. So even that can happen. It can go that subtle. But Sage Yoga is beautiful because after realization, the balloon deflates and it pops, and in the moments of silence when you separate from your ego, then you realize that, okay, what was happening. And as you go further and deeper, and more of that separation establishes within you, you see more and more clearly the play of your ego, how the horse was riding you instead of you riding the horse. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you mentioned the balloon, right? We explain that ego as if there would be a balloon. So we want to put a needle and deflate the balloon. Same with the superego, which we'll talk about in another class. Shivani, what about yourself? Even growing up with Sahaja Yoga, but there might have been moments you
Oh
realize.
yeah, oh for sure. Like the ego is one of those things where it kind of creeps up on you. It's quite subtle, like what Rahul said. But I have kind of a funny story that it's a little bit embarrassing, but I'll share it. So I am originally from Australia, and in Melbourne, um, my family and friends and everyone knows that I love to host and to make chai and food for people. And so I had this identity, this like identification that I had created for myself of being a good cook and a good host, and I can make good chai. So this is the what I had with and when I got married and brought that ego with me to America, um And I made chai for the first time here. I was so overconfident and so like, oh yeah, like, this is who I am, and I'm going to nail this chai, and everyone's gonna love me and think I'm amazing. And then I made the chai, and it was very like basic, like it wasn't anything to write home about. And in that moment, I felt I was so crushed. And it was something so silly, like making chai. Okay, it's a cup of tea. People are gonna drink it and be over it, and they'll enjoy it. But whatever, it's okay. But for some reason, that just spun me out, and I was reacting so much, and I was so upset. And it took me a little bit of introspection to realize that it was such an ego reaction because it was so silly. But that's just an example of how the ego creeps up on you, and it can definitely push you into reactions that are completely out of proportion. And yeah, so that's just a small example of how that could come up. But yeah, definitely meditation and introspection is the way to kind of combat that from creeping up too much, and making sure that you're able to feel that on your hands so that you avoid getting those big emotional roller coaster moments.
What came into my attention is you got the opportunity to witness yourself because you left your place of comfort. You changed the country, you went to another country. You have to settle down there again. And that gave you the opportunity to see yourself better, right, in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So the ego is also something else wants comfort. The ego wants to be, it doesn't want to change.
Yeah.
And when we get into a different situation, we change places or we get in some uncomfortable situation, then we realize, oh, actually, my ego is talking all the time. And then, but then again, that's the transformation Rahul mentioned. As soon as we realize the ego is there, we see ourselves, okay, now I can come down. So, to my next questions, how do we reduce the ego? Do you have any simple trick, or how do you personally reduce the ego, Rahul?
Yeah, the best way are the subtle ways through Sahaja Yoga. Best not to fight it. I have ego. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to bring it down. No, that's not the way. But yes, using the subtle methods as we practice today, like giving abundance to the right Agnya, taking the mantra of Shri Buddha, taking the Buddham Sharanam Gacchami mantra, and bringing down the right side. Because when the right side gets overactive, that's when the byproduct of that is ego builds up, like smoke rising up and filling up this balloon of ego. So what you need to do is cool down your right side with cool foot soak, ice pack on the liver. Um, and Shri Mataji mentioned that you can raise the left side and then bring down the right side. So these subtle methods are the one that works the best, and there are other methods like shoe beating and other techniques that also help to bring down the ego. But yeah, best.
What about you,
Yeah.
Shivani? Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you, Rahul.
exactly.
Yeah.
I completely agree with Rahul. Those are the first points that you would hit to do your treatments and to do foot soak and make sure that the right side is cool. Also, another, not really a treatment related, but one that really helps with the right side and cooling it down is spending some time in nature. That helps a lot. But to add to all of that, sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell if your right agya is catching. So that's one of the tricky parts with the right agya, where people often don't see that they're egotistical, and everybody else can see it, but they can't see it. So that's where the beauty of Sahaja Yoga comes in, where you have that power, you have that ability to diagnose yourself and to see, oh, my right agya is catching. How have I been behaving? How have I been reacting unnecessarily? And a way that you can tell is that if things offend you easily, that's definitely a right agya catch that you might need to bring into balance, so that you're not worried about those kind of things. And it definitely, if somebody says anything to you, if it spins you out completely, then that's a good sign that you need to work on the Right Agnya a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get to our next questions. What are some typical sentences the ego would say? Such as, what's wrong? I'm telling you. I'm just telling you. Now listen to me. I'm always right. I mean, this is what our inner voice maybe would say. Why do you do this? Like pointing out, or say, for example, I do a mistake, but you tell the other person, oh, you do this mistake. So we don't see for ourselves, or we cannot say, actually, I made a mistake. What other examples, Rahul, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, ego doesn't like owning up to its mistakes. It always tries to blame the circumstances, the environment, or others. Like, I didn't get good grades in the exam because the professor didn't grade my paper well, or professor was mean, or maybe it was raining. Of course, external situations have their impact, but if we introspect, many times we realize that the lack is within us. Maybe I didn't work hard enough, I didn't put enough effort, and I didn't study enough, and that's why I didn't get the good grades. It's not so much the external environment. So, yeah, I think ego tries to justify and put blames on external factors. So uh, this happened because of so and so, and instead of owning it up that no, it's lacking in my behavior, or lacking in my habits. Other thing could be that it can justify any mistake by comparing it with other people, like what I did was not so bad as what this person did. So as if you're trying to um, shift, I mean, bring down you're trying to avoid facing the wrong that you did, or trying to dilute it by comparing it with others. But so I guess those are some of the things I have seen.
Any examples at work, Shivani? I'm not aware. Are you working or you're...
I'm currently not working at the moment.
Okay.
But I can
Or
give,
within the family, do you have any
yeah,
example within the
I
family you clearly recognize, oh, this is the ego talking?
yeah, definitely. Like, sometimes if my, like growing up, if my mom was telling me, hey, you should do this, or, do a foot soak, or how you're studying, or, I would think, oh, like, what does mom know? It's fine. Like, I would just kind of have this sense of like, oh, there's a naivety in not just my mom, but just any adult telling me something to do. Not naivety, that's the wrong word, but like they don't know my life. Like especially in my like teenage years, when you're going through the teenage attitude issues. Um, I had this a couple of times experienced that, like, oh, what do they know about my life? Like, it's so different from how they were when they grew up, and all this kind of thing. But really, any time that that's happened and I've looked back and I've realized that, oh, actually, if I listened to my mom in that moment, or if I'd listened to that person who was trying to teach me something, and if I wasn't so caught up in my own ego, then it would have been better for me. It would have been better for my growth. And the same goes for in that same story that I mentioned before about Lord Buddha and the small girl giving him the rice pudding. In that moment, he could have been what could have gone through his head was, what is this little girl? She doesn't know anything about my struggle, about my yearning, and about my penance towards getting my self-realization. Why should I take the rice pudding from her? But in that moment, he didn't think anything of that. He just took the rice pudding, and that gave him the energy and the understanding that that wasn't the correct path. So that's, yeah, I kind of like to link those two together, but definitely in hindsight, looking back to those moments of not listening to my parents, not listening to my elders, and then realizing later that I should have, and it would have been for my benefit. I definitely keep those in mind now when I am getting advice from elders or from my older brother and yeah, my friends.
Yeah.
You mentioned a big part of how to gently actually reduce the ego is listening.
Mm-hmm.
That, if our close relatives or our friends, they might see our ego, which we cannot see initially, and they give us a tip or they say something. But because the ego does not want to be exposed, it does not listen. So if we are opening our heart again, because our sasrara is very close connected to the heart, opening the heart, allowing other people to tell us something. Wow, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. I will really consider that. So that is humbling us down inside, and we listen to our heart. So a big part of gently reducing the ego is opening our heart. And in our meditations, we can simply say, Mother, I don't know if I recognize my ego or not, but please open my heart so that one day I will fully be aware of when I'm speaking with ego. That's a gentle way just to reduce it. Another thing came into my attention in conversation with others. There's some personality, they keep talking nonstop. They just keep talking. Even 1 hour passes, they keep talking. And you cannot even break their sentence. And they will just go from topic to topic and topic. And these are some certain, I would say, negativities or blockages that the other person cannot see themselves, that actually how much they are talking and not letting us talk and expecting from us to listen. So that's another type of ego. We can recognize these personalities. Sometimes it is very subtle, also the ego. For example, playing music and learning flute for me is pure introspection. Since I started playing, initially, I practiced 10 minutes. Yeah, I'm good. Okay, it's good. I'm ready for the class. Or I would practice just half an hour before I have class once a week. Yeah, that's enough. So it's another subtle ego. But flute and music is something you just have to practice and practice, because there's a muscle memory. There's absorption from the music. You have to listen to the music. So it involves a lot of time, and you really spend time. That the flute is your best friend. You want to spend time and develop the music to grow within. And then the ego say, oh, that's enough. You don't need to practice. You're so good already. So then if somebody else says, you can maybe improve, that didn't sound so good, then allow the heart to open and allow to listen. That's a big part of reducing the ego and bring gentleness in the heart. Ego is also always harsh. Gentleness and softness is from the heart, but ego will say something harsh that sometimes hurts. That's another, say, recognizing point of the ego. We have spoken so much about the ego. Let us just maybe for a minute bring our attention again in Sasrara, and we can bring the left side up, really push the right side down a few times, very gentle. Bring the desire in our heart, Mother, please let me recognize the ego and humble down. Mother, please humble down my ego. Thank you everyone for joining today. This is the end of our session, and we will see you next time on Sunday. Have a fantastic evening. Bye everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.